driving's all about. Naturally aspirated engine up front, manual transmission in the middle, and rear wheel drive at the back. This is the Mazda MX-5 GT. I haven't actually tested this model with this body configuration, so you can get the RF kind of hardtop style in all trim levels. This is the slightly lighter weight soft top version, and you can get it with a 6-speed automatic or 6-speed manual. Power comes from a 2-litre naturally aspirated twin cam 4-cylinder engine, 135 kilowatts at 7,000 RPM, 205 Newton meters, sent to the rear wheels via a limited slip differential. Now, if you're a bit of a hardcore driving enthusiast, then you're probably going to go with the GT RS. That sits one above this. It's the flagship model. It comes with Bilstein suspension, BBS forged wheels, and Brembo brakes. This GT version is probably going to suit a wider audience. It's the perfect Sunday cruise car. It's got all the refinement and luxuries offered in the MX-5, just doesn't have those hardcore bits and pieces. And you save around $3,000. This is priced from around $50,000, excluding on-road costs. So with 135 kilowatts and a curb weight of just over 1,000 kilograms, you've got a power to weight ratio of around 135 kilowatts per tonne, which is perfect for this type of vehicle. It's right in the meaty section of hot hatches, and you might think, oh, it'd be good if they had a turbo version. Look, a special edition with fat tyres and so on, with turbocharging, that would be very cool, but to the wider population, this is perfectly fine. I'll just show you. So 3rd gear, I'll go back to 2nd gear, going pretty slowly, low RPM, 2,500 or just over, full throttle, that's up a hill. It picks up just fine. Even 3rd gear, just show you from 3rd, so 3,000 RPM, put your foot down, it just starts building speed like it is turbocharged because it is so lightweight. So really, you don't need any more performance or any more speed out of this thing. Like, it actually goes really well, especially if you rev it right up to the 7,000 RPM red line. The GT version is a little bit softer in the handling department compared with the GT RS with the Bilstein suspension, but again, I think that's going to suit a wider audience. And it certainly does well to soak up ordinary country roads in Australia. Cabin space is pretty confined. Like, this is an intimate sports car, an intimate driver's car. I think if you're pretty large, you know, you might start to feel the pinch here, but for me, I'm 170 centimeters. This is perfect. Like, I feel very much connected to the vehicle. The steering wheel's perfectly at my chest. I've got a nice driving position. I can lower the seat down. There's not much in the way of storage. You've got a little pocket for your phone and a very shallow storage box in the middle, or armrest, with a box in the bulkhead at the back. And then right up the back, you've got a 130-litre boot. Look, it's not massive, but it's definitely suitable enough for weekend getaways. You can get a overnight bag in there, no problem, or some you know, light weekly shopping. Now, obviously, with a convertible, what you really need to do is pop the roof down. So I'm just going to drive slowly, hope there's not too much wind noise, but it just really opens up the environment and makes you feel sort of more connected with the car, and you're more aware that you're driving along. Like, you're not just in this little quiet capsule protected from the world. This is kind of like riding a motorbike in that, yeah, you're very aware that you're moving along. You can leave the side windows up if you want to as well, and it just kind of stops a bit of the wind coming through. But if you really want that open air experience, put the windows down as well. Go for a nice cruise along the beach. It's very entertaining. If you've never driven a convertible before, this will be super entertaining to do first time. I'll pick up the speed a bit, but if it gets too windy, I'll put the roof back up. So far so good. It's not blowing my hair around too much, but I don't know if you can still hear me. It's fine. Like, I can hold a conversation in here, no problem. Easy to heel and toe in this thing. And with the roof down, you get to hear that high revving 4-cylinder engine. RPM. This is what driving is all about. Very engaging handling. I can feel what's going on exactly through the steering. You can kind of kick the tail out a bit as well. Adjust the behavior of the car. even mid-corner. Because it's so light in weight, you can easily correct it, bring it back to where you want it to be. And the brakes are really good as well, again, because it's so lightweight. In terms of fuel consumption, the official average is 6.8 litres per 100 kilometres, which is quite low for the performance you're getting, and you can actually get very close to that in the real world, again, thanks to its lightweight platform. So with a 45 litre tank, that translates to a theoretical average range of 660 kilometres. It does require 95 RON fuel. Yeah, awesome driver's car, as the MX-5 always has been. I think this is probably the best iteration yet in terms of having enough technology to keep you entertained. Nice stereo and nice fit and finish, but you've still got physical controls down here for all the climate. Easy to adjust everything while on the go. Not too much over the top safety systems. Yeah, I think this is a perfect combination. All right, let's head off now and do the performance test and see how it goes. As I said, I haven't actually tested this combination or this variant.